Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
From the whispers and the static to the voices beyond the veil, the search for answers begins here. Welcome to EVP Explorations, the show that takes you deep into the world of electronic voice phenomenon. Every Thursday night, we push the boundaries of the unknown, blending today's cutting-edge technology with the tried and true methods of the past. Join your host, Todd Bates, as he uncovers mysterious voices, analyzes real EVP recordings, and explores the techniques investigators use to bridge the gap between the living and the beyond. Are you ready to listen? EVP Exploration starts now.
Holy cow, and a good evening, one and all. My goodness, welcome. EVP Explorations Live right here on the Sacred Spiral Network. We have got an amazing show for you tonight, and there's so many new things to update you about. One of the cool things here on StreamYard, I'll show you here in a second, I'll turn on. But those of you that are fans of the show, you're going to notice some changes and so forth, logo changes and things. She's growing, okay, and she's turning into something cool. It's going to be a good thing, folks. So just welcome all the changes if you would, and let us know your feedback on all the good stuff as well. But those of you just trickling in here, hello, 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 and big website changes as well. It has been completely optimized once again for speed. You guys you're sending in such great feedback. I can't thank you enough. Can't thank you enough for the feedback. And the site is taking on a lot of people, a lot of visitors, and it's fantastic that you guys are going in there and taking care of things. One of them actually today, I wanted to take a moment here and congratulate Mr. Cody Barnes. He has been tackling the courses in there, the 101s, the 102s. He's hitting them hard. He's studying up. He's learning a foundation. He's getting out there. He's getting things done, folks. That's what this is about. And it's all for free. It's all for free. No playing around. No weird, hey, free trial stuff. I don't know how to do all that stuff, folks. It's all for free. It's all good stuff to get out there and, you know, make a change, get out there and make a difference and discover and explore. And there's just so much out there. But tonight, our special guest, KDB Kinter, holy cow. You talk about experience and knowledge and just a fun person to be around. I've talked to her briefly backstage and instantly fell in love with her. She's a sweetheart. She's knowledgeable. She's got some amazing knowledge. So you guys get out your notepads tonight, record this show however you can. I don't care. Just gain the information from it because Katie is going to bring a lot to the table tonight, folks. She really is. And we're going to play some of those samples as well. Now, due to me being called in to guard some candy tomorrow at the candy factory, folks, my boss called today, asked me a favor. Of course, sometimes in life, you just have to step up. You got to step up a little bit. So I'm going to go in, work a shift tomorrow. So what that means is it simply means that the show is just going to be cut to about an hour this evening so I can get it uploaded for you guys, get it podcasted and everything, and get it ready for tomorrow for you. Or, you know, as soon as possible when you guys are ready in the morning. That way we can get it up for you. Now there's so much going on, and I'll keep you guys up to date as much as possible. Keep an eye on the website, evpexplorations.com, evpexplorations.com, for some cool stuff. There's just a lot of cool stuff coming up. And one of the cool things tonight, I wanted to get this going here, and I'm going to put it on throughout the show, and I'm going to see what Katie thinks of it as well, our guest this evening. But with you guys, our amazing station here at Sacred Spiral Network always gets some cool new gadgets. One we're going to try tonight is this right here. Now, what this is going to do, it's beta, so we'll see if it works or not. But it's supposed to put all the comments and so forth on the screen so everybody can see what everybody's saying. So we're going to try that in and out throughout the night. But as for now, we'll get it up the old school way. Nancy, hello. Thank you for joining us. My goodness, John Swinke's here. Nice to see you, John. Nice to see you, my friend. Always great to see John. Always great. Long time supporter. Long time. And Jen, good evening. How are you, Jen? Mr. James Kelly, my goodness, how are you, my friend? Hopefully you guys are doing well. And, drop your comments in there. We'll see if this thing works here tonight. I don't know. It really, it's acting funny. May have to be in some special setting. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But it's one of the cool things here that way you guys can carry on your conversations, because I know a lot of you, I've been getting a lot of emails saying, well, so-and-so said that blah, 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 and I couldn't see it. Well, that's because we have so many social media networks watching the show right now. There's 3 different YouTubes, 2 Twitches, some Facebook, several Facebooks. So you're seeing different conversations at different places and things. So hang in there, and we'll get all these bugs kinked out there. Hi, Trish. Great to see you, Trish. And of course, Mr. Brian Richmond. Why are you waiting on me? Yes, our wonderful driver, Brian. Great to see you, my friend. Here come the comments. You guys can see them down there at the bottom. You guys can see them going up now. So make sure you look there in the lower right-hand corner during the show, and you'll be able to see those comments. So you guys can keep your conversations going as well while we're talking to Katie and so forth. That's just a new feature we're trying out here on the show. So let us know what you think about that. Let us know through the website, if you would, evpexplorations.com, or drop your comments in there if you guys want to keep that or not. But what we're going to do, we're going to get this break out of the way. What we're going to do tonight is only take one break. Now, this break's going to be a couple minutes, but we're going to take one break because we have a lot to talk about with our guest, Katie, and we're going to play some of her real EVP captures. All that's coming up, folks. You guys stay tuned. Don't touch that dial. More on the way. Our guest, Katie B. Kinter, is coming this way. Stay tuned. Don't touch that dial.
Introducing The Haunted Voice by Todd Bates, a powerful autobiography that takes you on an unforgettable journey through life's darkest struggles and most hopeful triumphs. From working as a corrections officer to finding himself behind bars, Todd's story dives deep into the battle against alcoholism and addiction, revealing the raw, unfiltered truths of hitting rock bottom. But this is not just a story of despair. It's a story of redemption, recovery, and hope. As a seasoned paranormal investigator and EVP specialist, Todd also opens the door to his chilling experiences with the supernatural, weaving together tales of the paranormal with deeply personal revelations. The Haunted Voice isn't just a book, it's a lifeline for those seeking recovery, a guide for those facing their own demons, and a treasure for paranormal enthusiasts. Available now on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Apple Books, The Haunted Voice makes the perfect gift for anyone looking for inspiration, guidance, or simply an incredible story. Order your copy today and discover the voice that refuses to be silenced. Recording tip: it is a common mistake that you can only capture EVP at night. The reason behind recording at night is the quiet and peaceful ambiance as a background, as the daytime usually contains much louder noise pollution. However, recording during the day is perfectly fine and advantageous to most, as you can gain access to more locations.
Hey, 8 minutes past the hour. Welcome back, folks, to EVP Explorations live right here on the Sacred Spiral Network. Those of you just joining us, our guest this evening, none other than Miss Katie Kinter. Holy cow. This is going to be an amazing show. Like I said, if you're just joining us, grab your notepads, your headphones. You're going to need them. Let's talk about tonight's guest here. Joining us is a true gem of the paranormal field, Katie Bueller Kinter. Now, Katie is a retired library technician who spent her academic career at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, Los Angeles, Pierce College. But beyond the bookshelves, Katie has spent the last 2 decades chasing something a bit more elusive: ghosts. Now, Katie's journey into the paranormal began at a young age of 4 or 5 when she woke up to find her uncle, who had passed away years before, standing at the foot of her bed. Shimmery, as she described it. The visits happened for 3 nights in a row and then stopped. But that single experience sent her on a lifelong path of curiosity about the afterlife. She's been investigating since 2005, leading ghost hunts throughout Wisconsin and taking part in investigations in Kingsman, Arizona, Las Vegas, Nipton, California, and Goldfield, Nevada. Now, Katie even did an original research for the Kingman's now legendary historic Ghost Walk, a beloved annual event that supports the local community theater. Now, specializing in EVP recording. Pay attention, folks. Katie brings a sharp ear of years of experience to the world of spirit communication. Now, tonight she'll be sharing her techniques, stories from the field, and yes, actual EVP captures. We're going to be sharing those as well. So without further ado, let's welcome Katie to the show. Katie, my goodness, it's so good to have you. Thank you for stopping by.
Oh, it's great. I'm glad to be here. Hi, everybody.
Yeah, you could see everybody kind of ticking up there in the comments now. So it's kind of a cool thing. Hi, Bonnie, Terry, Tony,
Oh, I see 'em.
Tanya, Tom. Yeah, they're all coming in here now. Everybody's kind of waking up going, oh, the show's on. I better get in there. Trust me, guys. I feel you. It's been a long day. But Katie, my goodness, so much to
Hello.
talk about with you.
Yes.
So much to discuss. Of course, as you know, this show is based around, focuses on, and is pretty much everything you can think of about electronic voice phenomenon. That's what we discuss here.
Yeah.
Our audience ranges from seasoned investigators all the way down to those that are just now grabbing their first digital recorder or maybe an analog recorder, maybe dabbling in ITC a little bit. So that's kind of what we're going to be covering a little bit, bouncing back and forth. But your experiences growing up. Now,
Very scary. I'm still a little scared when I think about it. There was a funny thing, though, that happened after that. Like when I was a lot older, like 60 years older. I'm 75 as of yesterday.
wow, you don't look it, girl. You
Oh,
don't.
thank
No
you.
way.
It's the lighting. It's the lighting. I was at a family reunion and my sister, who is like 5 or 6 years older than me, was sitting next to me. She shared the same room, and she asked me, "Do you remember when you thought you saw Uncle so and so at the he was at the foot of my bed?" And
Ooh.
I said, "Yeah, like I would forget that." And she said, "Well, I saw him too, and he was holding a tiger." And I'm going like, no, he wasn't. There was no tiger. I would have liked that actually if he had been holding a tiger. Just I like tigers.
Wow.
But she swears he was holding a tiger. So I don't know.
Hey, I mean, who's to say otherwise, right?
I can't tell, And I did tell my mom I was really scared, and I went out. Then I went the next morning after one of these visits, and I said, "Mommy, Uncle so and so was appearing at the end of my bed, and he's really scaring me." And she just went, "Oh, he really liked to come up here and spend time because we live in a beautiful home on a hill." Like that was not reassuring. Thanks, Mom. I won't come back to Mom for ghost advice.
No.
So, but she didn't mean it. She was just trying to veer me away from it a little bit. So
I mean, I've got to ask you real quick. I mean, the age of 4 and 4 or 5, it's an age of discovery. I don't know. It's an age of openness, in my opinion, where you're just kind of gullible to the world, really.
Oh, really?
You're open, so open like a sponge. Do you think that's why these paranormal encounters happen to you at such a young age? Maybe you were more open.
You're totally accepting of what you see. And as you get older, you sort of, and just it's just my opinion, but you slowly build this shell of sort of cynicism, that there ain't no such thing as ghosts.
Right, right,
And I was told that a lot. There's no such thing as ghosts. Have to be afraid of it. Well, why is he in my bedroom? It's just like,
right.
okay, and it, it gets to the point though where for me, once I had access to the local public library, which took years because I went to a rural school where, went through one through eight at a rural school that had nice horse books, but that was about it.
Yeah,
And I went to ninth grade at what they called junior high school then, and now they call it middle school. But I only
right.
spent ninth grade there. And the first thing I did at my lunch hour is the public library was right across the street, and I ran over
Oh,
and I checked out as many books as I could find on ghosts and paranormal and all that. And the ones I remember most are Harry Price, who did his ghost hunting with string and powder and maybe a box camera where you might, like those old fashioned tripod box cameras. And he got results that way. And then Hans Holzer, I remember his
oh
books.
yeah.
So, and I believe his family or his descendants are still active in promoting what he did.
Alexandria is absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. She's a
So
sweetheart. She's doing
I'm
great with
glad
it.
the legacy goes on. So
We got a
pardon
quick
my
question
ignorance.
here for you. What advice do you give parents to a very open child? Katie, any advice?
I just try to understand what they're going through, but I've only really experienced it once, and this was a child that was actually pretty accepting of what was going on, and his mother actually brought him on one of our ghost walks that I used to do in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, which was through those went along a trail that ran along the Fox River, and then right behind that area was the city cemetery with something like 20,000 graves. And he had no problem at all. But I did because his flashlight revealed this little globby monster skirting along the path. It had no head, had no legs. All it was two little pointy things at either end, and it scooted into the grass. And that was his flashlight did that. And I just like, stop. I wanted to tell him to stop swinging his flashlight around. I don't want to see stuff like that. And I was right behind him. The dang thing went past my feet. And I have seen things like that in the old ghost hunting shows. What was his name? Peter. Who was Peter that had the big mustache? And I can't remember his last
Oh, Peter
name.
James.
That's it. Peter
Peter
James
James.
was doing a show, I think, on this Queen Mary.
Hmm,
And he opened up a door like into a pump house or something. And there was a whole bunch of them little things scooting around in there. And that's what I saw. I don't know what they are. Dead rats, I
And
guess.
yeah, they could be anything. They could
Yeah.
be something
I don't know.
interpreting. That could be least energy to form. Who knows? But they're
They're weird.
there, and you can't explain them, so therefore they're paranormal, whether you like it or
Yeah.
not. Then
Yeah.
that's what's hard to accept for a lot of people out there. Katie, is
Well, he didn't
when
have any
they see
problem with
things
it.
like that.
He
That's
didn't have any
good.
problem with it. So, if a kid got really scared, I think on our ghost walks, which we have had a few little ones come along, and it is kind of scary. And I just advise the mom and to keep an eye on him. And if he gets scared, turn around and go back. Just go back and go back home, and bring him again when he's older, and have more understanding. But I don't want to
Yeah.
scare anybody. I don't like scaring kids. So.
I couldn't blame you. And like Amanda's saying here, I remember seeing glowing red eyes as a child, along with lots of other things.
Oh.
Nobody ever believed me. And that's a big thing as a child. And that's something we should touch on here real quick before we get into some of your captures and things.
Mhm.
Did you go to mom and dad about these sightings and activities and things? And if you did, what did they think about it?
Well, the thing I have never really
Back
talked
then.
to them. They actually passed. My dad passed before I ever really got super active with it. So,
Oh,
but my mom was around for a while, but she had Alzheimer's, and that was not something I wanted to talk to her about. My sisters knew, and my brother knew, and they all thought I'm crazy, except the one that saw the tiger. But she doesn't think I'm crazy. But My brother thought I was nuts, and my oldest sister thought it was, Lulu. And
Yeah, I feel you.
so, but it was okay. They didn't say not to do it.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, my family was the same way, Katie. My
Hmm.
family was the same way. I was raised Catholic. I find
Oh,
myself
me too.
a recovering one today.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
I I was Catholic. I am Catholic still in my mind. I don't go to church
in my
anymore.
yes.
In my mind, I'm Catholic, but um, there are some positive things going on with the Catholic Church, which actually make me feel a little better about it. But
Yeah, I'm
still,
not as
got
shaky
a
as I
long ways
used
to
to be.
go.
A long
Okay.
way, a long
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
But it's the I guess the way we were raised, and a lot of people, listening, watching, were raised as well.
Hmm.
Very strict religion, not to pursue any of this, not to discuss it, not to read about it, not to talk about it, not to do anything about it. So I sat down with a priest several times. I said, Father,
Oh,
look, this is
but
something I enjoy. And he said, it's curiosity, my son, go forth.
yeah. What are they going to do? I mean, I still kind of chuckle because I was raised believing in the Holy Ghost. Well,
Hmm.
okay, if we have a Holy Ghost, we must have regular ghosts too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
and and now they call him the Holy Spirit. I think maybe Holy Ghost got a bad rap, you know. So, but
Yeah, it is what it is with it, though, right?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
there's so much involved, and a lot of folks coming into this field. What are a few things that you've
Mhm.
noticed with it's evolving and it's changing? We have a lot of new folks coming in.
Mhm.
What do you think about the community and how it's changed over all these years?
I
I
we
gotta
all
ask.
come in with a pre-notion of what it is, and some of it may be based on all the ghost hunting shows that are on. I know that I when I first started doing actually ghost hunting, it was after I saw an episode or a couple more of Ghost Hunters, and I thought, "Well,
Mhm.
that looks really interesting." And so I would go outside and take pictures of dust orbs and, "Oh, look at all the orbs." I mean,
Oh, sure. Yeah,
I lived
yeah.
in California, there's dust orbs everywhere. And, it just that was the only guide I had at the time. But then I heard when I moved back to Wisconsin, I got a message on Facebook from someone only a few miles really from me, about 50 miles, who was wanting to put together a ghost hunting group. So I thought, "Okay,
Hmm.
well, I've never tried that before." And I went, and it actually, gave me a new round of friends that were very interested in the same thing. We only did a couple of investigations together, but, one was really kind of a dud. I saw a cat's
Yeah.
tail go into the wall, but that was about as exciting as it was. Um, but the second one was a doozy, and when we're so inexperienced, we're trying our best, and I did, I think I brought something from that investigation that just fascinates me. There's a lot of stuff I got out of that place, but it I have one file I sent you, JFK Prep. So, and that is a notorious place in Wisconsin that all the ghost hunters want to get to. But we had a connection with the owner of the property at that time.
Oh,
And he was seeing black sheets in the hallway, and this guy was very religious. He didn't believe in ghosts, but what were black sheets doing waving around in his hallway? He didn't know what that was about.
interesting.
So, okay, well, yeah, we'll do it. So, yeah, totally innocent going into this huge place, multi buildings,
Whoa.
and it's got a cemetery behind it, filled with dead priests and oh, it's really a crazy place. But if you're anybody that's listening, don't be tempted to go there because there's a different owner now, and they'll have you arrested. And
Aha.
last I heard, there's a $5,000 fine for trespassing.
Heed the
But
warning.
but there is an easement. Go during the day if you go. There is an easement on the driveway through the property that can take you back to the cemetery, which they have to allow because, relatives want to go visit their, their priests and things. And so you can go to the cemetery, but do not stop at any of the buildings. Unless the mission store is open. There'll be a sign up if there's a mission store is open. But it's owned by a mission now, and they're very strict about it.
Good.
So it's like scary.
That's good. That's a good thing. It's under wraps. It's controlled.
Yeah.
It's secure.
Yeah, they
It's
keep an eye
secure.
on it.
Good.
It had a lot of vandalism during the days that it wasn't in use. But it was at one time it was a seminary for Salvatorian priests, so college, so to speak. And then it when that moved away and the church, the diocese stopped supporting it, then it became a Catholic high school. But that was only for a few years. So and then it was closed down, and it had different owners throughout the times, and we were lucky to get one that was willing to talk about the possibility of it being haunted. So, and I think it is. So
it's pretty incredible. That's pretty incredible. And for the people just, coming into this, Katie, for something to be haunted per se, what do you feel entails a haunting, a true haunting? Does a place just have to look spooky, or can any place be haunted?
Well, I think generally speaking, probably any place can be haunted, but, I kind of look at it in a way like, well, if I was a ghost, would I want to haunt this place? And most times the answer is yes, because they're generally quiet places that don't have a lot of activity. And so they maybe feel safe there. Feel safer there. But I have had some interactions with a ghost. I got I sent one of those files to you.
We're going to get to those in a minute.
I did a bad thing, so don't do what I did.
You did a bad thing.
I did a bad thing. And
let us learn from this. Let us learn from this.
Do not do what I did. It's not good to do what I did. So
it's okay. It's okay. Look, Lord knows we go out there in the field, and boy, do we do some crazy, sometimes dumb things, folks.
It was dumb. But I got mad. I get mad. So and it came right out of me, and it's like, oh no, and sure enough, I got what I deserved.
And that happens. That definitely happens. Now I've got some of these files here. I've got them in order.
Okay.
And number one
order?
here, and
okay.
Ironically, the names on these. Is this the last name Bates?
Which one?
It's Secondhand Shop.
Okay, the Secondhand Shop, and what's behind it? There's a couple of those there. Which one do you want?
Radio Voices.
That's the one.
Yeah, you want to go in with a let's go in with a bang, Katie.
Yeah,
we'll start with a bang.
And I am just to everybody that's watching and listening, I am so ashamed of myself for doing this.
Katie, do not be ashamed.
It worked out okay.
And just to warn some of you viewers out there, this does contain some adult language.
Yeah.
Parental discretion may be advised.
Yeah.
But your kids are going to hear it eventually anyway. So anyway, this is an actual EVP capture. One of Katie's here, folks. Secondhand Shop. It's got some foul language. Listen for it. Let us know what you think.
Hey, watch it.
I hear that?
Yeah.
I told you.
Bite me. Oh my God. Is this Simon? Yes, it is.
I just heard that.
Me neither. Simon, this is. Let me tell you a little bit about the Secondhand Shop.
Hang on. There we go.
Yeah,
Sorry
that's
about
just a
that. It's on a
filtered
loop.
version, but you all got the gist of what happened, I'm sure.
Sure, sure.
Um, and the secondhand shop was in Stoughton, Wisconsin. It was owned by a couple of friends of mine, a married couple, and they collected old stuff from auctions and estate sales, and then they resold it in the store. The building itself they owned, but before they owned it, it started out back in the 1800s as a hotel, and then at some point it was a brothel, you know. And somewhere in that time period, there's a story that the local sheriff was taken up to the top floor, which was technically it was like the third floor because they had a
Okay.
lower level, middle level, and a third floor. And he was pushed out a window, and I think he was supposed to have killed. Okay. This is in the days when gangsters were kind of common to coming up to Wisconsin because it was easy to get rid of the bodies in Wisconsin because there was no death penalty. So
Ah.
it was Chicago, good old Chicago, just south
Oh,
of the
yeah.
border. And, they come up and vacation in Wisconsin too. And but as long as I paid the rent, I don't care. But we don't know who would have done that or why it
Sure.
would have been done, except maybe he was on the take and he did something bad to his whatevers. So,
Well,
but
if you think about it, their mouths, they didn't exactly have clean language anyway, Kate.
yeah. So
You know.
anyway, the secondhand shop is I've talked a lot to the owners, especially the wife, Vicky, and she has a lot of stories. I can't all gather them all up. She kept a log, had people, customers and visitors write down what they experienced there. So things would like be lifted off the shelf and dropped. And one time she always had a dog in the store, and they were always boxers. They're always lovely dogs. And one time she told me, I believe it was a puppy boxer then. Oh, sorry, I bumped this. It was in the front of the counter where they check people out. There was a glass counter with watches and things in it. She was behind the counter, as I remember. And all of a sudden, her puppy was out in front, and something lifted it up into the air and set it down on the counter. And this door, there was nobody there. But whatever was there it had the ability to pick up a dog, a small dog, but his dog. And that really shook her up.
That's incredible.
But Simon, I think I would say Simon is the main guy in that building. That's the one that she talked about the most.
The
And
dominant.
the guy that runs things, sort of. And that was who we think, and he's on that audio. He doesn't like women. He hates women. I think he tricked me that same night. I think it was Simon, because I was there with a group of women that wanted to go on a ghost hunt, and I thought, well,
Sure.
let's take them to a real powerhouse of a ghost hunt.
Oh, yeah. Let's get them in there good.
Yeah. And I was down on the lower level with them, and we were just sitting around. I had my recorder going, and we're just, kind of just talking, and hey, is anybody here? And blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, I felt what seemed to be a cold thumb pressing up against a very intimate part of my posterior, sending me jumping up and going over to a different place to sit. Is that somebody just, gave me a wet willy.
Yep.
And there was nobody behind me. I was sitting on stairs that didn't go anywhere. Nobody was sitting behind me. And when of course, my recorder was running, and I recorded the whole thing. And when I listened to it, after a few years, I kind of just set it aside. But I listened to it a few months ago, and I realized that there's a word that comes after I'm complaining, and it's this smirking male voice saying "Fanny," just like that.
No.
Yeah. Now, if anybody here does not know what that means, it means the female posterior of the late late 19th and early 20th and on into the 50s and 60s and
Fanny.
70s. Fanny. It means a butt.
It's a butt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, okay. Well, I never sat on those stairs again.
Well, you've been through now. You, like you said, you started out small, and then kabam, you go into this, and you're capturing some really compelling evidence and things, and things are starting to come together. They're starting to make a little sense for you. That's really cool. And this is the second one from the secondhand shop here, number 2 that we're going to play.
Okay.
Did you want to introduce that? Do you want me to play it and you talk about it after?
Yeah, you can go ahead and play it.
Okay, here you go, folks.
I know where this random shadow cat, which nobody named, that's it.
I am Shadow
What?
Doc.
See now, my eyes are adjusted to the point where when I look at the doorway, it was exactly, I can kind of see the back wall.
Who just said what's going on?
Who?
Who just said what's going on?
I did. I thought Andrew did.
I thought you did. Did you say that?
What's going on?
Yeah.
Keith, did you say something?
No, I didn't say something.
I
Somebody
think it
said
was
what's
him.
going on?
What's going on?
Whoa.
Yeah, that was not a
Okay.
That was in the lower level where there was a lot of furniture, and it was kind of arranged so you could act like you were in your living room.
Mhm.
And I was there with a bunch of other actual regular ghost hunters, people that kind of knew what they were doing, and my husband. And then the guy talking off in the business was a young kid that came with us too. He was really interested in it, but he never really shut up. And I have that same problem, by the way. I don't shut up. But I'm sitting there, and Keith is my husband, and he's sitting a little ways behind me to my right. And I'm sitting there, and I'm just kind of listening to the ladies because it's around 1 o'clock in the morning. We've been there for several hours. They're getting tired and they're getting wacky. So they had a lantern in the middle of a coffee table, and we were right next to a wall. So they were making shadow things on the wall, and that's why you hear I am Shadow Duck, because somebody was pretending to be a shadow duck. I don't know what that was, but
Times get tough in there. Yeah.
yeah. Well, this voice was, I would estimate it was about 8 inches from my right ear, and I
Okay.
heard it really clearly. Now my recorder didn't pick up the whole thing. It missed the what part, but it did say what. So it was what's going on. And
Do you
maybe
think, real quick,
yeah.
because this capture, I could hear the what's going on. I could hear the female voice saying that.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, I think it's female too.
and everybody else heard it with their naked ear as well. Do you think somehow the voice comes through us and then onto these devices, and maybe something got messed up in here and it didn't all get imprinted on there?
I don't know. I really don't with that one, because
How else can you hear
appeared to
it?
be outside. It appeared
Yeah.
to be right here. Like
Mhm.
somebody was just leaning over to ask me what's going on. And some people think that right after, when I'm asking all this question, you'll hear one of the female investigators go, "I didn't." She's not saying I did. She's saying I didn't in Wisconsinese. Wisconsinese. She's saying I didn't. There's the second D just kind of disappears, and
Mhm.
I talk like that too
Accent.
sometimes. So it wasn't her. She would have had to been in a completely different place for it to be by my ear. She was about 8 feet away from me, and
Yeah.
on my left side, and the voice was on my right side. So I have no idea. There is supposedly a female ghost there and a little girl ghost. And I'm thinking maybe it was the female ghost. We don't really know who she is. I think Vicky called her Mary or something like that. And maybe that was the little
Okay.
girl she called Mary. But yeah, that was the only time that this person made herself known in that way.
Now, do you also feel, going into these places like you have all these years, your mindset going in, your mindset during, things of that nature, along with your experience each time, Don't you feel
Mhm.
that gains you better results along with common
I
sense?
Yeah, in some ways it does. In other ways, I go in sometimes with absolutely no expectations because it
Mhm.
depends on where I'm at.
Okay.
And somebody may have just asked me to come in and check out their facility. The one I can pretty much point to that was actually a very small beauty shop, and where people got their nails done and things like that. It was very small, but they were concerned. The owner was concerned because they had a radio that would turn on by itself. Lots of things can cause that, but it seemed to happen pretty regularly. So when
Okay.
I just went in by myself with a recorder and talked to her, and I spent maybe an hour there, and it didn't seem like anything was happening. I didn't really expect it to, but when I went through the tape, I hear this male voice saying, "Find my head."
Ooh.
I don't know where your head is.
Whoa.
And if I did, I would not go find it. So
No, not looking for that. Sorry. Try the next guy.
well, the thing about this was in Kingman, and Kingman is on Route 66, so there's traffic running through it from everybody wants to drive Route 66. And
Sure.
plus, there's the railroad still runs through there, something like 80 times a day. So there's always a train going through. And I feel like the friction and the energy generated by the railroad and by even the cars going by may contribute to what's going on in some of the buildings in downtown Kimming. They do have activity in some of the buildings, and one is in particular. I did not include any of this today, but is one in particular I'm involved with because I volunteer for the Beale Street Theater and Kingman Center for the Arts. Is the theater that they're renovating right now? It's an old theater,
Ooh.
and
Oh.
it it's got stuff going on in there. They have to do it as they raise money, so it's taken a long time, but it's getting close to being ready. So I'm not
The
sure how this year.
renovation, Katie. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think that's going to do
I don't know.
inside
I
with
don't
all the
know.
renovation? You think that's going to increase the activity?
I don't know. I have been in there several times before it really got seriously, in up to speed with renovation. And every time I would just tell whoever was present, you're going to notice there's changes going on here. And what's going on is not to be hurtful to you. It's
Sure.
going to return this theater to a beautiful facility for entertainment and movies and other types of activities. And if you want to be here, you're welcome to sit and watch the show. You may have to provide your own chair, but
I think that is a beautiful way to
I'd like to
explain
have
to
them do
them.
that.
Yes,
I
that's a that's well
I
said.
love I love investigating theaters. I investigated a really nifty one in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, where I was living for a while. And that I heard stories about that where spirits would actually sit down on people's laps, and
Yeah.
people would try to move, because they don't know what's going, and the spirit would move with them and sit on their lap in a different seat. That's the old
Fooled you.
it's if you go up there, you might be able to get a tour of the theater. They don't admit to having ghosts anymore. They let us in on they owed me to let them in because I had a terrible experience, which turned out funny, but doing one of our ghost walks that we now do in Kingman, I did them at the cemetery as I was talking about before. And one day it got I got interviewed by the newspaper and they put in all the wrong information in the paper, the wrong place, the wrong time, where you
Oh
go,
no.
and all that. And people were showing up at two different locations and by the dozens. I mean, it was huge. And my ghost walks were usually like 12, 15 people. That was it.
Right, right.
And luckily I had some friends there that were part of my ghost hunting team, and they said, "Well, we'll take this group down. There's another group down by the entrance to the cemetery." It's like, "Oh, gee." And I got there, and they were really well behaved. They were just
That's a
waiting,
good
and I
thing.
said, "I'm here." But as we're doing this, the police pull in, A
Oh
police car
no.
pulls in because they don't know what's going on. And
Sure,
I'm
sure.
and normally we don't do the cemetery in that way. We do it like
Bunch
later
of
in the evening.
flashlights going around.
And so he comes up and says, "What's going on here?" And I said, "Well, we're having a ghost walk. We're going to be out of here in like 45 minutes, and we will not touch or harm anything. And anybody that does is going to be in big trouble with me."
Big.
And as I'm talking to him, his squad car starts rolling back out of the cemetery into the street,
Oh.
and he goes running after it. I never saw him again.
Oh, no.
Makes me wonder if the ghost gave it a little push, but I think
A little
maybe it was
push,
he
little
hadn't put the
shove.
brake on. But the next morning, I did get a call from um, from the newspaper and apologizing. I was at work when they called. They knew to call me at work, and they were just apologizing all over the place for screwing it up. And they said, "But
Yeah.
we got something for you. We can get you into this theater." This was the day before Halloween. "We can get you into the theater at 4 o'clock tomorrow morning." And I didn't have anybody to help me, so I had to make phone calls. I said, "Yes, yes, 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 we will go." And it's a beautiful theater. One little problem, not long after we were in there, is the ceiling fell down.
Oh,
Huge ceiling.
no.
Nobody was hurt, thank goodness, and it's all
Oh
better
my
now.
goodness.
It's all fixed. But we got a lot of interesting things in that theater. Some of them,
I can only
actually,
imagine. I mean,
yeah.
there's so much history involved, so much emotion went through with all the plays and shows and
Oh,
so forth put through
absolutely.
there.
Theaters are
I could
absolutely
only
crammed with
imagine.
this. There
And
was
Greg is asking here real quick. He says, Katie, do they have a stage light on the stage in that theater?
That's a ghost light. Yes, they do.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, I asked them to turn on the regular lights when I went back to do some review with the manager of the theater, and he said, "Well, we have the ghost light." Well, the problem is the ghost light isn't quite bright enough for me to show him. It's like, "Can you please turn on like one ceiling light, please?" He did, but the ghost light was on. They have one. And I'm hopeful that our theater here in Kingman will also have a ghost light because it's really useful just so you don't kill yourself, walking around in the
Sure.
dark.
I mean,
So,
it's safety first in that
oh
aspect.
yeah,
I
but
mean,
that theater is wonderful. If anybody's ever up in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, you got to go to something playing at that theater because it's just gorgeous and it's old.
and it's crazy how we only have a few more minutes. I want to get to one more of these. You know what
Okay,
this means, Katie. You know what this
yeah,
means, right?
I'll have to come back, Sonny.
Oh, you're gonna have to come back and
I
back
will.
and back and
I'll
back
come back as
again.
much as you want.
Oh my goodness, it's so fun talking to you. I'm learning a ton tonight.
Okay, can I pick the one that we do?
Oh my goodness, please, yes. Which one would you like?
It's Peshtigo.
Okay.
Peshtigo.
Got it.
Tripod outside door.
Yep. Got it right here.
You want to give it a
Okay.
play?
Yeah, we're gonna play this one here for you folks. Let us
I
know.
think there's a repeat on that one too. That might be a little clearer.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a tripod right outside the door, so it'll just reach right out and get you. Where's my camera? What a camera. Okay. Okay, Keith, what time is it?
I can't see it.
Just a second. Here. Where's my camera? What a camera. Okay. Okay, Keith, what time is it?
Okay, did you hear it?
Yes, that's incredible.
That guy was not there.
Okay.
He was not there. This was well, let me tell you a little bit about Peshtigo, and not everybody may be aware of it. But on the same night as the Great Chicago Fire, there was a fire in northern Wisconsin and the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and it's called the Great Peshtigo Fire. This spread across an enormous part of Wisconsin and Michigan and killed over 1,200 people. Now, the Great Chicago Fire, all the buildings burned down, or a lot of them did, but not nearly as many people died in that fire. But you never hear about the Great Peshtigo Fire. So we were up in Peshtigo, which is a small town just below the state line with Michigan, so it's in Wisconsin. And there's actually a memorial to all the deaths there. People jumped in the river to get in the Peshtigo River to get away from the fire. They couldn't come up again because it was so hot up there. If they stuck their heads out of the water, they'd be instantly killed by the heat.
Ugh.
And so a lot of people died in the river. A lot of people died in the forest and in the more remote areas. It was just a horrible tragedy.
My
And I'm
goodness.
surprised the town still exists, but it does. It
Yeah.
was a sawmill town. It was a logging town. They cut down white pine trees, those huge, tall, straight trees, great for building. A lot of them went to Chicago to rebuild Chicago. Well, this house, this is one that it is a little bit involved, so I hope we have time. This house was a two-flat now. It's like a Queen Anne, Victorian, late 1800s kind of house, with a porch, and it had been divided, as I said, in a two-flat. Nobody lived in the lower level, and it was being painted when we were there, but when we came back after taking a quick dinner break, the painters were gone. There was nobody in the house downstairs, or when we went around with flashlights looking in every room, because we couldn't get in, it was locked. But the upstairs was occupied by a young mother with two little girls. And these girls were really little. They had Barbie beds. That's how little they were.
Oh.
And their grandma, who's the one that contacted me, she was really concerned about what was happening in that house. The little girls were seeing a man coming out of the wall and talking to them at night. And I mean, they didn't know who he was or anything, but finally one time he came out and he told them his name. He said, "I'm Mr. Burke." And then he said, "I'm going to kill your family."
Oh my goodness.
So,
Holy.
yeah. So we did come back and we investigated that top half of that house. I should mention too that during the fires, I believe there was a boarding house not too far from this house. Sorry, I'm waving my hand in front of me. It's not too far
Oh,
from
you're
this
fine.
house that over 100 people died in there. And this guy, I think, might be one of the sawmill workers. It was such a scary time. And the grandma did some research on the house and found that it had been built by a man named John Burke. So anyway, this is a
The plot
scary
thickens.
plot thickens. It thickens.
And these are the things that you run into out in the field. Sometimes they're dead ends. Sometimes they don't leave. And Tony's got a comment here. I want to get this. I must have missed it earlier. Things were flying by, folks. Sorry about that. But she says, I live in a rest home and a hospital, part where people die here all the time. One
Yeah.
interesting thing that happened was a man was dying, and next door to him, a lady was dying, and they don't know each other. But the lady died first, and the man said, I'll be there soon, Debbie. And they didn't know each other at all. This was in New Zealand. That's pretty interesting.
Hospitals are hotbeds of paranormal activity. They really are.
That
Strange
is,
things happen there. I did work in a hospital for a couple of years as a receptionist in a clinic at the University of Wisconsin. I was there for a long
yeah.
time. And when I would go in there on weekends to pick up something I may have left at the clinic or something, it was a different world when I walked through. And I was on the main floor, on a wing of the old hospital. It's now the School of Allied Health Sciences or something. They built a brand new, big, huge gargantuan hospital elsewhere, which probably is haunted.
Yeah.
It's like the walls are just talking to you as you walk there. They're like staring at you. And like I got out of there as soon as I could. The couple times that I went in there when my clinic wasn't open, I just goodbye.
Yeah.
The
So you have to know when to walk away at times too.
Well, I wasn't going to stay in there. This was before I really
Right.
got into ghost hunting, a long time before, and I just got creeped out like you wouldn't believe. So
And it's good, to get that out before we take off here, to go with your gut feeling like that, Katie. When you're in one of these situations, don't ignore
Yeah.
that. That is caution. That is
I've run away a couple of times.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, me too.
it's like,
Ooh, out
bye.
there, I was out there doing some dumb things myself,
Look,
and
it happens.
things happen. Things happen, but
Well,
you recoup from it the best you can and go back out and just don't make that
mhm.
mistake
Well,
again.
this house kind of scared me because of the kids, and so I found all this recording. Blah, blah, and I have an octopus in my face. All this recording after I'd gone home, and I went through all my recordings. There was a couple of really interesting ones, and that was one of them. Um, now, what do you? I should ask. We kind of got sidetracked here, but
Sure.
does anyone have a guess as to what the man is saying?
Yeah. Yeah, if
All
anybody
right.
has any suggestions, I mean, if they're still thinking about it and they have any, where can folks get in touch with you, Katie? How can they get in touch with you? What's
They
the
can
best
find
way?
me on Facebook. Just look for Katie Buller Kintner, and it's Buller. It's like some people do call it Bueller, and I
Oh,
feel like, oh no, Bueller, Bueller, Bueller.
Bueller, anyone?
Yeah. So, but you can just look for Katie Buller Kintner, Buller, Kintner, and yes, I am Mrs. Kintner from Jaws. My kid was eaten by a shark. They can contact me through Facebook. That's probably the easiest one. But let me talk about that guy for just a couple seconds more.
Oh,
I think he
goodness,
was a
yes.
mill worker. I think he was a mill worker. And to those that are still guessing, somebody's asking if I haven't posted. Check with me on Facebook. Friend me on Facebook and mention that you saw the show. Um,
There you go, James.
this guy, I think he was a mill worker, and I am not sure why he was speaking right then, but it sounds residual to me. And he seems to be concerned about something that John did. And I don't know who John is. And
Mhm.
John was supposed to get word of the boss, and that's where it trails off. And I really want to know what he was talking about with John. One more thing happened there, and I know you're running short on time, but this is real quick. While we were gone at a dinner break, when we were first there, I left my recording running on the kitchen table, and the
Mhm.
kitchen was in the back of that floor, and there was a big long stairway that led up there, so people could come into the second floor without going through the main door. Um, when I played that back, I hear a screen door slamming. There's no screen door in that, and downstairs, upstairs, or anywhere in that house. There was
Residual, I bet.
no screen door. And
Oh,
then a man says, he has a really grumbly, growly voice, but he says, "God damn it, God damn it." And then I hear another voice says, "Is he all right?" And then it echoes. So it's like, "Is he all right? Is he all right?" I have no idea what that was about, but it sounds like somebody was hurt very badly.
hurt
And
very badly. The door,
yeah,
they were pulling them out, dragging them out, maybe.
something was
That's
happening.
incredible,
And
and it's
remember,
incredible how these get picked
there's
up.
a bunch of sawmills in this city, this town at that time. Man, you could get really hurt in those places.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's Peshtigo has always been on my mind that whole ever since we did that. And we did it about 15 years ago. And it's those kids are all 20 in their 20s now. And I'm so glad that the mom, when she heard these recordings, she moved out 2 weeks later with the kids.
Yes.
So she left.
Yes.
And that was a smart thing to do.
Holy cow, that's incredible. That is amazing. That is amazing. And Katie, I can't thank you enough for taking time. We're going to have you back again and again because
Oh, that's
I
fine.
enjoy talking with you. The audience loves you to pieces. There's questions as we leave, but don't worry. Katie's going to be coming back here soon. Probably look for in August or
Oh, that would be
September.
great. And maybe
It's
if
gonna
you
be
can get me in on sometime in October, I can get
oh
you.
now that because I'm planning on doing a we'll be in touch. I've got
Yeah, I
ideas.
do a lot in October. I'm involved with the Kingman Ghost Walk. Last year I was an actor, but years before I did the research for it. and they still use some of my stories. And next year, I'm hoping I can do a session like this in person in the new theater if it's ready to go. And that will be before the Ghost Walks, because I don't want to compete with the Ghost Walk, and I don't want them to compete with me. It'll be like on a ticket basis or a donation basis. Everything goes to Beale Street Theater for
Oh,
renovation of the
that's
theater.
cool.
So
That's cool. See, that's the
it's
way
fun.
it should be. That's the way
Yeah,
it should
come
be.
on down to Kingman, Arizona in October, and you will get spooked.
Get the hell out there, folks. I mean, seriously, get
Yeah.
out there. And Katie, thank you so much. I'm going
Oh,
to put you
thank you, Ted.
backstage here. Hang on for a
Thanks,
second. I'll
everybody.
talk to you for a chat with you for a bit here after. Okay.
Okay, and
All
thanks for
right.
coming and listening, everybody. It's nice hearing you, or seeing you anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. You're going to be back. Thanks, Katie.
Oh yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, Todd.
And there she was, Katie Kinter. Holy cow. So much we covered here tonight, folks. And those of you just tuning in, those of you that missed the first part of the show, don't worry. Everything's archived for you. I'm going to get the podcast up here in just a few for all you podcasters out there. You can find us on Apple. You can find us on all major platforms, Pandora, Amazon Music, you name it. People listen through Alexa, so just ask for EVP Explorations, I guess. It's real simple. If you guys want to listen to the show, if you want to watch the show, subscribe to us over there on YouTube, EVP Explorations. Search that for any social media. We're on all the platforms out there. A lot of fun stuff. A lot of stuff coming up here. Next week, we're going to be talking with Ron Yacovetti, Lourdes Scott. They're going to be, oh my goodness, I'm looking forward to this. They have something new that is absolutely amazing. We're going to discuss. Cool stuff coming up next week. And be sure, get out there, folks. Do some research this weekend. Do a little recording out there. Do a little old school recording. Give that a shot. Put ITC to the side for a minute. Go get your digital recorder. Go out there and try some of that. See what you guys think. Give it a shot. And come next Thursday, I'll get your thoughts and everything. Get your comments. Talk to us on Facebook there at the EVP discussion group. Holy cow, it's amazing. It's growing strong, folks. Get over there to that Facebook group. And of course, on the website, evpexplorations.com, everything you need over there, folks. And I want to thank our producer, Mark Davies, holy cow, for putting these shows together, booking these guests, and doing the great, amazing work he does. Thank you, Mark, very much. And thank all of you for taking time out of your schedules to watch these live shows, to listen to the replays, watch the replays. Can't thank you enough for the support. It is overwhelming. It leaves me speechless every time. The feedback, keep emailing me, keep messaging me. I know it takes me a while to get back to you. Hang in there. I'm getting them as I can get them, folks. But you guys are amazing, and I can't thank you enough for all the support. So from all of us here at EVP Explorations and the Sacred Spiral Network, you guys have a great weekend. I'm off to work tomorrow, but have Saturday off, so we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll get into something. We'll see. You guys take care.